Welcome student to the physics classes. Today we will start first chapter of class 9 physics, which is motion. Before proceeding further, did you recall student mechanics? Mechanics is that branch of physics in which we study motion of an object. That means our chapter motion comes under the mechanics branch of science. To describe motion, motion is simply word moving. Moving or changing place or changing position. It is an very important aspect of physics. As for the example of motion, every verb, suppose running, walking, jumping, falling, bouncing, so many others, that depicts something somewhere is moving. Okay, so these describes motion. Student, we come across so many kind of or type of motion in our day-to-day life. Suppose when sitting on a seesaw and a student or children going up and down, so this kind of up and down motion. If an object moving only straight direction, so it will be straight line motion, just like train. If in merry-go-round children are moving round and round, so these are round motion or circular motion. And a snack is moving random direction, not a particular fixed direction, so it will be called zigzag motion. And on a swing, child goes back and forth to their central position or mean position, so it is called back and forth motion. These are all different types of motion that we come across in our day-to-day life. Student, we are learning motion. So we have to learn its related term. Suppose physical quantity related to motion. Its unit and symbol. And we will check whether physical quantity are vector or scalar. Now start with our first topic, distance and displacement. Student, it is a physical quantity, and if it is a physical quantity, it can be measured. It can be measured, so it do have some unit. Its magnitude in base unit, and whether if it is having magnitude only, so it will be called scalar, or if it is having magnitude and direction, though it will be called vector. This all we have understood in our previous video. To distinguish between distance and displacement, let us suppose there are two houses, A and B. And someone is moving in zigzag direction and reaching to the place B. As it is moving in random direction, so it will cover distance. Suppose this distance is about 100 meters. So student, we can understand we are moving in random direction. That means do not have a particular direction, but it do have some magnitude. So just because we have covered some path, we have covered some distance, so it will be called distance. It do not have any particular direction, so it will be, this distance will be called scalar. So we can define distance is a physical quantity which have only magnitude, and so it is called scalar. Or we can define distance is a length of path. Whatever length we are traveling, if we are going like that, so this path of this length will be considered. But if we join house A to house B by a straight line. So we are starting our journey from A, so it will be considered at initial point. And we are reaching house B, so it will be considered as final point. And initial and final point are joined by a straight line. So it do cover some distance. For suppose, but it is clear beta ki it will have distance lesser than distance. Why? Because any straight line will have less distance as compared to any curved line. So let us suppose that this distance between A to B is 80 meter. We can compare this 80 meter is shorter than 100 meter. So we can say what we are doing, we are traveling from A to B by a straight line, so it will have a magnitude but in a particular direction. So when distance is measured in a particular direction, it will be called displacement. Is it clear? Displacement is nothing but the distance along with direction. And as displacement is having direction, so it will be considered as a vector physical quantity. Here is another example. See, in this diagram we are moving A to B first by through C, then to 3D and reaching to B. So this is independent of direction, so it will be called distance. This path is in particular direction from initial to the final, so this path will be called displacement. So whatever be the value or magnitude will be the distance between these two, and whatever be the magnitude between these two will be called displacement value. Now here is the table showing the difference between the distance and displacement. Student, clearly it shows length of path is a distance and shortest distance will be the displacement, as we have understood just now. Distance between 2 points depends upon the path chosen. Distance always is dependable upon which path we are choosing. But displacement between 2 points is measured as a straight path. Always it will be straight path between 2 points. Distance is always positive just because from A to B, whatever path we choose, we will cover some distance. So it will be more than 0. But displacement can be positive, negative and even 0. Suppose if an object A to B we are joining, so this will be positive displacement. If from B we are reaching B to A again, so now initial and final point will become same. That means displacement will become 0. But if we are reaching from opposite direction to our initial point, so this will become negative displacement, because final coming first, then and initial coming later. So direction is changing of initial and final position, so that we can consider it as a negative displacement. So here it is enough to understand that displacement will be positive, negative and even 0. Distance is a scalar quantity, as we all are knowing about this. Distance is a scalar quantity and displacement is a vector quantity. Distance will never decrease. Obviously, if something is moving, it will cover some distance. So it will positive only, that means it will increase only. Displacement may decrease. See, if it is negative, so displacement is decreasing. If it is 0, that means displacement is decreasing. If it is positive, so it may increasing, so displacement not only increase but decrease also. So I think you all are clear. Student, we will next learn about speed and velocity in our next video. So till then, thank you for watching. Bye.